Imagine stepping into a world where football meets wild, star-studded nightlife, and courtrooms become the new locker room.
Ronaldinho Gaucho was arrested in Paraguay on Friday for allegedly attempting to enter the country with a fake passport.
This isn't a Hollywood blockbuster. It's the utterly mental tale of the late career Ronaldinho, the Brazilian superstar whose world came crashing down with a few too many parties and a couple of unconventional life choices. From four-way relationships to prison stints, hold on to your seats because it isn't your usual highlight reel. Oh no. This is the untold, uncut story of Ronaldinho.
Here I come. Oh, here I come.
Buckle up because you're in for a hell of a ride. So, you're the king of football, and then, out of nowhere, a stern, no-nonsense gaffer comes around and pulls the rug right out from under your feet. That's what happened to Ronaldinho. Pep Guardiola arrived in Barcelona. You see, Ronnie and his buddy Deco thought they could show up to training as if there was some beer-drinking contest. And oh boy, were they mistaken. Pep was the drunken debauchery, and his blood boiled hotter than a Spanish sun.
No! God, please, no! No!
What did Pep do? He shoved both of them into the transfer life faster than you can say Golazo. Ronaldinho, or Samba King, packed his bags and joined AC Milan, hoping for a fresh start. But this wasn't going to be the San Siro Samba he'd hoped for. This is where things started going, well, we kind of say, a little tits up. Now, you must be wondering what happened in Milan. How did a Brazilian superstar fare in this fashion capital of the world? Well, to tell you this, he didn't spend his time shopping for designer threads. Stay tuned, because this is where things get juicy. So there's Ronaldinho, party-loving football maestro, in the heart of Milan. It's like giving a kid the keys to a candy store. And trust me, he enjoyed every flavor Milan's nightlife had to offer. His off-pitch exploits were soon the talk of the town. If the club expected Ronaldinho to be their dedicated and disciplined star, they were in for the rude awakening. But it wasn't just Ronnie enjoying himself. He found a willing accomplice and a young striker, Pato, and the two of them painted the town red, night after night. One of the many lessons Pato learned from Ronaldinho was how to party hard. So hard, in fact, that Pato's wife eventually divorced him, blaming his inconsistent boozing with Ronnie. Talk about a dubious mentorship. The city of Milan was barely able to handle their partying shenanigans. But things took a turn for the worse. The last straw came when Ronaldinho was cornered by furious Milan fans in a sweaty nightclub in the ungodly hour of 3 a.m., the night before a big game. The club was left red-faced and fuming. I mean, imagine that happening to Beckham or Messi. After this, the European giants wouldn't touch Ronnie with a 10-foot pole. So, what's a party-loving Brazilian supposed to do? Well, we're about to find out. Remember, it's Ronaldinho. Nothing's ever too conventional with him. So with the European giants shaking their heads, Ronaldinho packed up his party hats and set off for new adventures in Brazil and Mexico. And oh boy, did he make some demands. He was the life of the party, after all, so why shouldn't he party twice a week? That's exactly what his agent demanded, a clause allowing Ronaldinho 2 nights out every week. If you ask me, that's one-of-a-kind contract. But what did Ronnie do with his negotiated freedom? He jumped on a plane to Cancun every Friday and returned on Tuesday. Imagine that, flying to the Mexican resort just for the weekend parties. Oh, and when he was not playing football or partying, leaving an impression on his fans. How, you might ask? By signing autographs on a female fan's chest.
What?
You can't make this stuff up, folks. Let's remember, amidst all the partying and craziness, Ronaldinho was still just a guy who loved his football. And sometimes, the simple things in life can prove to be the most challenging. The disaster strikes in Mexico when Ronaldinho's brother and a 24/7 personal assistant, Roberto, takes a well-deserved vacation. No harm in that, right? Well, Roberto returned. He found Ronaldinho at training asking for money. Sounds odd for a football star, doesn't it? The even funnier part of it is that the club secretary had to lead Ronaldinho to the bank that he personally sponsored and explain how an ATM works. Imagine that. The high-rolling, party-loving football star didn't know how to withdraw cash. Then in 2015, Ronaldinho finally decided to hang up his boots. You'd think he'd want a peaceful, quiet life. No, but Ronaldinho wasn't ready to fade into the background just yet. No sir, not Ronnie. Post-retirement, he started making some weird, and I mean weird, career choices. He starred in a kickboxing film with Mike Tyson. Yep, you heard that right, kickboxing. From dribbling on the field to dodging punches on the set. What a switch, huh? And just when you think that it couldn't get any stranger, Ronnie was spotted playing the bongos in a World Cup closing ceremony, and then, weeks later, attended an Arab summit on responsible policing. Talk about diverse interests. But Ronaldinho wasn't just making headlines for his quirky career moves. He was also turning heads with his luxurious lifestyle. Life after football was looking pretty sweet for Ronaldinho. I mean, why wouldn't it be? The man moved into a jaw-dropping, marble-floored mansion filled with leopard print sofas and surrounded by palm trees. It was basically a slice of paradise on earth. But what's a palace without a queen, right? Or should I say, queens? Yes, folks, you heard me right. Ronnie didn't just settle down with one girlfriend. He moved not one, but two of his girlfriends into the mansion, kicking off a three-way relationship. Talk about breaking the norm. When the press found out about this unconventional living arrangement, he simply shrugged and claimed he was adept at polygamy. That's Ronnie for you, always playing by his own rules. Life seemed like it never ended for Ronaldinho. His two girls even got matching engagement rings from him. It was a fairy tale life, with the man, the myth, the legend himself at the center of it all. But as we all know, fairy tales can't last forever. Living the high life was all fun and games for Ronnie until reality decided to knock on his door. In the form of charges for crimes against nature, now Ronaldinho, the former king of football, facing charges for illegally building a pier at his lakeside home. It's an absurdly hilarious sight, isn't it? Well, not for Ronnie, who found himself having to cough up $2 million in fines. Not surprisingly, our Sultan of Samba was having none of that. He flat out refused to pay the fine. In retaliation, the authorities seized 57 of his properties and confiscated his Brazilian passport. Now, that's a bummer. But there was another problem looming on the horizon. Ronnie had a trip to Paraguay lined up, and without a passport, how was he supposed to get there? Well, leave it to Ronaldinho to find a solution. With a few phone calls, he got himself a fake Paraguayan passport. But little did he know, his plan was about to go hilariously wrong. Picture the scene. Ronaldinho, football legend, flashing a grin with his fake passport in hand, ready to conquer Paraguay, but his grin faded as the airport officials rumbled his harebrained scheme. Before he knows it, he's cuffed and led away, under arrest at the border. In a packed Paraguayan courtroom, his $5,000 an hour lawyer takes center stage. His complicated legal arguments fall on deaf ears. But wait, he has plan B. He looks to the jury in the eyes and says, "He is stupid." Well, that's one way to defend your client. However, this genius defense strategy didn't quite cut it, and our man Ronaldinho hauled off to the slammer. What if you thought Ronaldinho, the football superstar, the partying animal, living off gruel and trading phone cards for cigarettes? You're in for a shock. Get ready for the Ronaldinho prison tour, where everything is not what it seems. Believe it or not, in the middle of this chaos, Ron gets an invite to a prison five-a-side football tournament. He takes up the mantle of captain, leading his band of misfits to battle a team stubbed with corrupt politicians. A surreal scene, even in the wildest dreams of a football fan. Can you imagine Ronaldinho orchestrating a glorious win from behind prison bars? With a hand in every goal, his team thrashes the opposition, 11-2, bringing home the grand prize, a 16-kilogram suckling pig. It's moments like these that could make even a prison sentence seem worth it. Remember, this isn't the end of Ronaldinho's saga. The roller coaster ride is far from over. And as you're about to find out, freedom doesn't necessarily mean smooth sailing. After serving a 5-month sentence, Ronnie is finally released. He utters a heartfelt, "I am never coming back to Paraguay," and boards a flight home. Dreaming of a wild night with his two girlfriends, Ronnie is ready to put all the chaos behind him. But just when you think you've gotten a handle on the Ronaldinho narrative, it throws another curveball. Awaiting him at home is a bombshell that would shatter even the most seasoned playboy. His two girlfriends have discovered his shenanigans with a third woman. No more paradise. They sue him. And with that, our Sultan of Samba finds himself single again. You might be thinking, surely that's got to be the end of it, right? Oh, how wrong you would be. After the whirling of events, Ronnie returns to his one constant, his beloved son, Joe, trading in late-night partying and courtroom dramas for quiet father and son moments. He teaches Joe kick-ups, flip-flops, and yes, the ins and outs of how ATMs work. This year, Ronaldinho's dreams finally come true when Joe signs for Barcelona. What a full circle moment from the king of football, mentor, and father. It seems that Ronaldinho might have finally found his peace. But this is Ronaldinho we're talking about. As he looks on with a proud smile, one can't help wonder what could possibly go wrong.